Hey, it's Luke, I'm just another angsty teen.
Hey. um, hey. How are we doing? I'm sorry, and I'm sorry mostly. That's the only thing I want to start this podcast off with. I'm sorry that I haven't been consistent. I never wanted to be someone that was inconsistent, obviously. That sounded British, but I was just trying to say the word normally, and it came out British, and I'm sorry for that, too. No, I am. I really did want to be someone that stuck with it, and, based on my actions here today, I am sticking with it. I'm not letting go of this podcast. That is one thing I know. I am not letting go of this podcast despite ups and downs, mountains and valleys. I'm not leaving you guys, I promise. That said, it's been a sec. It's been a little bit since we last chit-chatted, since we last had a little convo about me. And so I have lots to talk about, but also my thoughts are very jumbled. I feel like this episode is just going to be one of those where I just have lots to say about different things. But the main topic I want to hit on today is medication, specifically antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication, which they should have a word for anti-anxiety medication like how they have a word for antidepressants, like anti-anxietants. But that's too hard to say, so I understand. But I rest my case. They need a word, an easier word to say for anti-anxiety medication, because it's a mouthful, and I have no desire to say that throughout the rest of this pod. So I'll just call it AAM or AM. Just kidding. I don't know. We'll see what I call it. I have no idea. So hey, what's going on? How are you? I hope you're feeling good. I honestly don't even know. I don't even know how I'm doing. But before we talk about anything, we have to just welcome the new people. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, hey, welcome. You're probably so confused about why I'm so apologetic starting out here. That's just because me and the podcast have grown a close bond, and I haven't held up my end of the relationship. And so I haven't been here in a couple weeks, but I'm here now, and that's all that matters. And also, I'm not going to make any empty promises about coming back next week because I don't want to make any promise, and I don't know. I don't know how I'll be next week. And so there is never a promise to that, which, may not be the best because I should probably provide some sort of consistent content somewhere. But yeah, if this is your first time here, welcome. It's the Another Angsty Teen podcast. My name's Luke. I am but another angsty teen. I have lots of angsty thoughts that, frankly, I don't want to keep in my head, and so I put them on the internet for anyone to have access to, because that's a, productive thing to do. It's true, though. I try to take all the things going on in my brain and put them in this podcast so that it feels like I'm doing something with all of the things happening in my head. So if you don't know how this works, right now we're in the intro, which is where I just spitball, where I just say whatever comes to mind, whatever pops in my head. And then we're going to jump into Luke's Life Update. Wow, I haven't said that in a while, which is the part where I talk about myself. And I know what you're thinking, Luke, you always talk about yourself. And that's true, and it's going to continue to be that way. I will continue to talk about myself, because that's the only thing that I know how to do. It's what I'm best at. It's my best talent. But yeah, Luke's Life Update, also known as Breakdown Update, where I talk about my most recent breakdowns, because of course I need a portion of my podcast that is specifically for that. And then we will go into, I forgot the beginning, which is Word of the Pod, which comes before Luke's Life Update, and that's where I have a word of the pod, which is a word that I have been liking recently, or a word that I got off of thesaurus.com. I had a word for this week, but I definitely just forgot it. Let me check my notes app. Hello, notes app. Hello, notes app. Well, I have another word that I want to use. So that's fine. It's fine. I forgot the word I was going to do today. It's fine. We'll roll with it. So, gosh, I'm all over the place. We do word of the pod, and then we do Luke's Life Update. And then we go into the topic of the day. Today's topic, as said previously, is medication and my experience with it. Because the entirety of this podcast is based on me. So let's just make that clear. If you're not interested in me, you're not going to like this podcast very much. So the word of the pod today has absolutely nothing to do with the topic. It has nothing to do with anything I plan on talking about, honestly. The word of the pod is... Sorry, I was trying to grab my LaCroix and I hit the table. The word of the pod today, dramatic sip. Entrepreneur. Entrepreneur. I don't know how to say that word. Entrepreneur. Let me see if Siri can say it. Entrepreneur. Entrepreneur. Okay, so she didn't even say it that well. The word is entrepreneur because I don't know how to say it, and I think that's funny. I think it's funny that there's words that I don't know how to say, and the entrepreneurial spirit is great. Doing your own thing. The meaning of the word is cool too, I guess, but mostly I just like the way it sounds. It sounds stupid. It sounds like a stupid word. Entrepreneur. It sounds like they're trying to do way too much at the end of that word, and they were just trying to come up with a new word that had an interesting sound, and it just did not work out for them because the word entrepreneur it feels like they were trying to bake cookies and then they put in too much salt instead of putting that amount of sugar. Does this analogy make sense? And then they came out all salty, and we're all just left with the confusion of entrepreneur. I don't know if that analogy worked at all. I'm actually certain that it didn't. So that's the word of the pod. I don't care what you say. It's a funny word, and I like to say it, even though I can't. As for Luke's Life Update... Well, there's a big elephant in the room, which is I started medication, but I'm not going to talk about that now because, guys, that's the topic of the episode. And so I don't go into that now. I have to go into that later, silly goose. That said, I do have plenty of things to talk about. So where do I begin? Well, I'll start with today. Today, I woke up and chose manic. Just kidding. I don't think I was manic. I don't think I was. I definitely had a few hours of whoa, my brain is going crazy and I'm super energized. And it's because I started drinking. I woke up at 11:30 after getting 12 hours of sleep because I get 12 hours of sleep every night. It's an issue. Don't applaud me for that. It's a problem. I woke up at 11:30. I had a coffee at 12. That coffee got me freaking zooted, dude. I was so hyped up today. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do my homework today, and I'm gonna, maybe clean up my room a little bit today. And then I went on a live stream on TikTok, and I was like, hey guys, I'm gonna be productive today. And the 5 people there were like, yeah, do that. And then suddenly my brain was like, actually, I'm gonna take apart my bed in this office room thing that I have, and I'm going to completely change the layout of this room, and I'm going to get rid of that bed. And so I did that. Today I got rid of the bed. If you're watching the YouTube version, you can see that the setup is completely different. I got rid of the bed that was in the room that I am currently residing in, and I completely took it apart. I took it down to the garage that we have, and now the wood that made up the bed frame is sitting there, and 2 mattresses, because it was a mini bunk bed where you could slide a bed underneath it. Anyway, I'm not going to explain that too much. But yeah, so today I got really excited and completely changed my room. And honestly, I feel fantastic. I feel like a new man. Change your environment, change your mind, right? Don't they say that? And I feel like that's exactly what I'm doing. I feel like I can do anything. I still haven't done my homework for today, which was my main goal of today. It was one of those things where like I woke up and I was like, today's going to be a catch-up day where I'm finally going to get like caught up on everything in my life, which is how I wake up every day. I'm like, today I'm going to be good and get the stuff done that I need to get done. And then I never do, or I rarely do. And then on the one day that I do finally catch up, I go like hard, It's like I'll sleep for 4 days and then I'll be like able to do everything. And so, yeah, I still haven't done my homework that was due like way last week. But that's fine because I'm a senior and it's just senioritis, guys. That's all it is. It's just senioritis, and it's just I'm so excited for college. Boom, segue into the new topic, college. Oh, baby. Boy, oh boy. College is running me through the ringer. I still have not made an official college decision. I'm currently deciding between Boston University and UC Santa Cruz. And if you know either of those schools, you know that they are extremely different. Like they're polar opposites of one another on completely different sides of the country, totally different vibes. But honestly, I think I would thrive at both of them. I think I would like really enjoy myself at either of those schools, or at least that's what I keep telling myself. But yeah, so Boston University and Santa Cruz, I'm simply waiting on Boston University to give me some money. I did this whole like financial aid appeal thing where I had to like prove to them like, hey guys, I don't have the money to pay for your school. Please give me money now, thanks. And so we had to do this whole process, which was super long, and had to get all of our finances and stuff, which was annoying. But I don't know. I think I have a pretty good chance of getting money from them. Our finances have gone through the ringer. And my mom is like unemployed and my dad is retiring this year. So I'm hoping that they'll be like, yeah, this guy does not have the money to pay for our school. So we'll see what happens. I understand if I don't get any money, it's fine. I understand that it could go to someone who deserves it more. I hope if I don't get it, it goes to someone who deserves it more. So that's kind of my perspective. I'm trying to be a good person. I'm trying to not be selfish. But we'll see. I've been waiting on that email from them for like 4 weeks, which is so annoying. Feels like I'm waiting for college decisions again. They like didn't give us an end date for when I would know by, and so I'm just like waiting. And like I know that their business hours they're like only open in the week, and so on the weekends I just have to wait for Monday to come around. So I'm just miserably waiting to hear from them, because as soon as I like hear from them, it'll like decide what I'm doing. Like if they don't give me enough money, I'm going to UC Santa Cruz. If they do, I'm going to BU. And so that's my situation. It kind of sucks because like everyone is committing to places, and it's really annoying and like hard to see on Instagram. I'm for sure gonna post on Instagram when I commit to whatever school I commit to. Sorry, that's just I just have to, because I like the attention. But also, I would imagine it sucks to like be on Instagram if you don't plan on going to college, or like I don't know, if you're not proud of where you're going or whatever. It honestly even sucks for me. Like, I know that I'm probably going to go somewhere, but I don't know yet. And so I'm still like, everyone's so far ahead of me. But I don't know. I think, like, this time and this phase of everyone posting their college decisions just accentuates the bad parts of social media, where it's, like, comparing yourself to everyone else's successes. And you can, like, logistically see, what it seems like people, like who seems the most successful, obviously it's not a full representation of that person, and it doesn't need, like, it's not something to compare yourself to. But I don't know. That said, obviously I do. I'm an angsty teen. That's all I do is get stuck in my head. So, I don't know. That's the college vibes. That's the college decision rigor. And it's also like what everyone talks about, and they're like always asking you about it. But I'm also always asking other people about it, so I understand. I get it. That is like one of my main topics with people, which is probably not great because I'm like, so do you know what you're doing next year? And I sound like an old like uncle at a family reunion. Also, even though I haven't committed, I still have been like, last night I went on a rampage of reaching out to people who are going to both Santa Cruz and BU, like different people. And that experience is awkward because I just go onto the Instagram pages for like the class that I'm graduating in, and they're like posting pictures of people and stuff. And then I just like DM the guys. I'm like, hey, dude, saw you're going to Santa Cruz. Me too, maybe. Yeah, cool. And I don't know where to go. So I'm like, what are you majoring in? Are you committed yet? And then that's like the extent of conversation directions that I have. And it's super awkward and problematic. And then I'm like, want to be roommates maybe? And I don't know. I hope I have a really cool roommate that is cool and is cool. And so I don't know. I have a bunch of people to DM back because I got really energized to DM all these people and be like, hey, want to talk? And then they all responded like this morning because I texted late last night because I don't know, I have a problem. And so I got a bunch of things back this morning, and then I was overwhelmed, and so I didn't answer any of them. Self-sabotage at its finest. Oh my gosh, guys. I don't know. Is this even interesting to listen to? I feel like this is like a Shakespearean tragedy. Watching me operate as a normal human being is like watching a Shakespearean tragedy. Because things are going to go downhill. Because that's like the whole thing with Shakespearean tragedies. Tragedies. And yet the person you're watching doesn't know. At least, no, actually, it's not like a Shakespearean tragedy. Because I'm aware of the downhill spiral that I'm on. Thank you very much. I may be unstable, but at least I know that I'm unstable. Quick check-in. How are you doing? Oh boy. Man, I haven't recorded a podcast in so long. It's so weird. It's so weird seeing you guys. So weird seeing you like this. I'm going to take another sip of my LaCroix now, and I hope that doesn't bother you. But a part of me also kind of does hope it bothers you, because you should never get too comfortable. Take that as a lesson, kids. Never get too comfortable. What else is going on? Yearbook. So I'm a yearbook editor, if you don't know, at my school. Kind of a big deal. It's whatever. And yearbook is crazy. It's like absorbing my life. Yearbook is life. No, it really is all I do. Yeah, I guess that's kind of it. We're trying to get the yearbook done. It's been quite a horrendous year to be a yearbook editor. All of our school sports that are normally spread out among 3 seasons got mushed into like 3 weeks, and so we had to get coverage of all of that, which was quite the task. But we kind of did it, and we're trying to like bring our book together. We're trying to finish it by mid-May. It's currently April 25th, and I don't know, man. It's just stressful. At this point, I'm just going to spend my whole day in the yearbook room, and it's just life. Life is life, Take that as a lesson, kids. Life is life. But yeah, so that's a little bit stressful. Also, fun little like This is very recent. Today, like I said, I was feeling impulsive. And there's this girl that I think I'm going to ask to prom. My school's having a prom, and I think I'm going to ask a girl to it, which is cool and exciting for me because I haven't had a thing with a girl in so long. And, I think I kind of feel ready. Almost. I don't know. I feel like, I don't know, it kind of came out of nowhere. I have really been focusing on myself, like a lot, You guys know. You guys know that I like to focus on myself because I'm a selfish mother. Whoa. Do I cuss on the podcast? I don't know. I still haven't felt it out yet. No, but I have been thinking about myself a lot. And I think I'm getting better. I don't know. We're going to get into that with the topic today. But yeah, randomly I was just like, there's this girl and I'm going to ask her to prom. And so I texted her friend and was like, hey, should I ask blank to prom? And so I think I just am because that just sounds fun and I just want to chill for a second and I just want to have fun for a second. And yeah, I'm not thinking about it a lot at all. I just want to enjoy myself. And yeah, I'm kind of open to anything that happens. So, I don't know. That's kind of the update. I wonder if anyone from my real life is listening to this. That'd be pretty crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I put on my TikTok the other day because I'm a cool kid who posts on TikTok. And I was like, I'm going to fall in love this summer. And that's fun. I'm kind of open to anything that happens this summer. Whoa. That was my speaker that just turned off. That was really aggressive. And I am not happy that happened. Okay, shall we get into the topic? You know what? Let's dive into the topic. Let's get into the topic. Let's start digging for the topic. Okay. Okay, let's go. The topic today is medication. Okay. Last time we talked, I said that I was going to be meeting with a psychiatrist on the Thursday following the podcast. And I was going to be talking to her because my therapist, my bad for this twice. My therapist recommended that I talk to a psychiatrist about potentially trying medication. So Thursday rolled around and I was meeting with the psychiatrist lady. And it was a whole process, honestly. It was like a Zoom call, and she was 20 minutes late, but there was a thing that said, if you miss your appointment, you'll be fined. And so I had to call the people and be like, hey, guys, I didn't miss my appointment. She just is not showing up, but, I don't want to get fined. So that was a process. And then she showed up, she opened the Zoom meeting, and then she was like, can I go pee? And I was like, yeah. And so that kind of took away my stress. And so good on her because I was definitely nervous about it. But when I saw oh, she's a person whoa, she's a person that pees like me, cause I pee too. I was like, okay, this should be good. I should be fine. Whew. I was able to take a breath. So then I talked to her, and it definitely felt weird because I don't know, I had this thing in my head where I was like, I have to prove myself to her. I don't want to say, I don't know, I felt like there was a weird amount of pressure on it for no reason because there wasn't pressure on it. And I was definitely nervous about it. And so I talked to her, and she was like, yeah, we're gonna try something. We're going to try Zoloft. And so she put me on Zoloft because folks in my family have used Zoloft before and it worked well for them. She was like, there is a genetic portion of this where if someone is good with this medication, then you're genetically more likely to be good with this medication. You get it. I'm not going to explain that any further. And so she was like, yeah, we're going to put you on Zoloft. Yeah, see what happens. There was a thing, and I don't know if I should share this, and I don't think I will. There was a second thing that I don't think I'm quite ready to share with the internet, which is weird because I usually share everything with the podcast. and I ask that you respect my desire to not share it. It may sound like I'm trying to get you interested in it because I'm talking about it, and I should just cut this out. But I like to be honest on the podcast, and I want to be honest, but I do want to have this one boundary. So I don't even know why I'm bringing it up. I just want to be honest, but there is some things. There's not a lot of things I won't share with the podcast. Like, I tell you guys a lot, but this is one thing that I am gonna kind of hold off on, at least for a bit, just because I don't know if I want the internet to know this. Anywho, I did get the Zoloft that day. I went to the CVS and I got it, and I felt really weird about it. I don't know. I was really nervous. I was like, is this going to change who I am as a person? Is this even going to work? And like so much going on in my brain. Feeling so nervous about it and guilty about it or something. I don't know. I had lots of weird feelings about it. And so I started Zoloft. And my symptoms, I didn't have a lot of like a lot of people get like stomach aches and weird symptoms like that. I didn't really get a lot of that. I like maybe did, but I wasn't really aware of it. I feel like I don't know. I don't really notice if I like have diarrhea. I just don't pay attention to that. And so maybe that's weird, but I'm not good at like keeping track of like, oh, I got a stomach ache on this day and then like I had diarrhea. I don't know if most people are good at keeping track of that, but I am not. So I started it, and I definitely lost like my feelings of like dissociation or like disconnection from myself or like that fuzziness. I wasn't really getting that as much because it was getting really bad, where like I was getting it like regular, like every day there would be something that would just make me like totally disconnect from myself. And so for the first 2 weeks that I was trying the medication, I was frankly like really depressed. And like I think the way that my depression works or whatever is I don't necessarily I don't know. I can like function with all the things I need to function for. So like I was able to go to all my Zoom classes. I was able to work on yearbook, and when I was like in the yearbook room, I was able to like get everything done that I needed to get done. I was also able to go to work. And so like those three things were kind of, I was pretty good with. School, it got a little bit weird cuz I was kind of not following up on my assignments and whatever, but only a couple things. I was like generally pretty on top of my shit, okay? And then the way that my depression did reveal itself is I couldn't talk to anyone outside of school and stuff. I just fully disconnect myself from the people around me. I don't know. I just like, I can't text people back. I can't text in group chats. I have no desire or ability to get up and go to like any sort of social thing. I couldn't make any TikToks, which I know sounds stupid, but like I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do any of my hobbies pretty much, which is like recording the podcast or like filming videos or going live on TikTok, which is the most stupid but also like low pressure thing. I couldn't do any of that stuff, and I was kind of getting like short with my parents, or like I don't know. I couldn't do anything. I wasn't showering. I wasn't really brushing my teeth. I wasn't out of bed unless I had to be for school or yearbook or work. I would get home from work at 8 p.m. and then go right to sleep, and like I don't know. It was really bad. And I've always, I don't know. I get like this a lot. But I would say my like depressive tendencies were worse. I was also I I had lots of bad thoughts. That's gonna be my family friendly PG way of describing it. But usually like my anxiety wasn't as like dangerous feeling, I guess. It was just like dysfunctional. Like it would make it harder to function. But the way that I got with this was a lot more focused on like negative thoughts and like potentially more dangerous stuff. And I had one night where I had this like big, I was just like in my bed and I had this big freak out. I don't know, alone in my bed. And okay. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this because I don't know if this like gets people worried about me, but I don't know. My main like really bad thought, I guess, I just regularly really want to like smash my head against a table. Which sounds so stupid and sounds so like comical looking. But when I get in my head, it'll be like I think about a thing that I did, or I think about a thing that I could do. I'll think about the way that I look. I'll think about, I don't know, the way that a mannerism that I have. And then I'll just like want to smash my head against the table and like really hard. And like the other thing that I'll do is, it's more of like passive, the way that my therapist described it, it's like passive suicidal ideation, where like I don't know, my whole thing is like I don't want to hurt the people around me, and so I'll just want to not exist. And it's very visual in my brain because I think a lot of things are, hence the head smashing. But I'll want to kind of like become this energy and just like suck into the universe and just not exist and not have ever existed, and therefore not, put my parents in any pain or put my siblings in any pain or put, I don't know if anyone on the internet cares about me. I have no desire to bring harm or like emotional pain to anyone. And so that's where it becomes a lot more passive, because like I would never be able to hurt people in that way, because I don't know if I've said this on the internet, but I have had experience losing people to suicide. And it really, really, really hurts in a really complex way. Because a lot of times when you lose people, it's awful and sad. Like, grief is so painful. But it's generally straightforward in the way that like you process the hurt of not being able to see this person again, and the tragedy of them dying in a car accident or to illness or whatever, things. And obviously it gets complex because you're like, why, this person doesn't deserve it, they're so good. And I'm not disregarding that at all, because that is like the most painful thing ever. So hard. But losing someone to suicide is really complex to process, because it was their choice, and it feels like you have to reckon with your own role in their choice, their decision. And when it is by choice, it's very easy to try and take up responsibility for their decision. And so, long story short, I think that's why it shows itself in very passive ways, because if I think about actually doing anything like that, my brain instantly goes to the pain and the difficulty of processing that in someone else, like in my experience with it. And so that is where that comes in. So yeah, I got really, really pretty solidly depressed there. And then 2 weeks on the dot, I was like fantastic. I was feeling really solid. 2 weeks on the dot, I was like talking to people, and I was not in my head at all. I was just able to talk to people without having anything going on in my brain. And I went to school, and we had like a senior barbecue thing, and I was like killing it. I was like, I could talk to anyone. I was unstoppable. And I went home, and I was making videos, and I was so excited. And this was like last week. And I felt fantastic, and I had therapy that day, and it was so funny because like the week of, I had so much to talk about to my therapist. I was like, I need to talk to Pam. I need to talk to Pam. I need Pam. And then I finally got to therapy, and I was like, I don't know what to talk about. I feel fantastic. And so I was pretty excited, and she kind of warned me. She was like, okay, tomorrow might not be the same, and you need to be ready for that. Like today could be an outlier for now, because it takes 3 to 6 weeks for these things to really kick in. And I was like, okay. And then the next day I was feeling pretty good. I had people over, and I was making videos, and it was very carefree and fun. And then through this past week, I've sort of been middle zone, I would say. I've been very middle zone, where like I definitely don't feel great. And especially the past few days, I've definitely been like a little bit struggling to get out of bed and things like that. And but that's more like actions. I haven't felt as bad necessarily. Definitely not as bad as I was like 2 weeks ago or something, or like a week and a half ago. But I definitely feel like pretty middle ground, and I'm kind of okay with that. There's definitely the disheartening portion of like, I just want the drugs to work. And so, coming back to the actual topic of today, medication, it can definitely be scary, because you're like, what's wrong with me? Why is it not working? But I'm also trying to be aware that like it may take a couple different medications, or it may take like picking up my dose, or maybe I just need to kick up the cognitive therapy, or like, I don't know. It's scary to feel like I have to work so hard to function normally, especially being like an 18-year-old guy. Like, it's not easy to try and do this stuff. It's not. It's really difficult, and it's difficult to be vulnerable about it. But I want to be vulnerable about it so that people don't feel like I feel about the way that I feel. And so I don't know. It's hard with like other people to kind of explain this, because I'm like excited that I'm on medication, but then if I tell people that, then they're like worried about me, and they're like, is he okay? Is he crazy? Is he, do I have to be watching out for Luke to like make sure he's okay? And it's like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell them. If you're a person who knows me in real life, I don't really know what the move is. I'm fine. I guess I just want... This is a good question, actually, that I've been trying to think about, but I don't even know how to answer. Like, what is the best way to be a friend? I don't know what I want from people. I like kind of like letting loose and just forgetting about everything that I feel like I have going on with my mental health. And I like someone that can let you forget. Um, definitely don't like being looked at differently, but I don't know. I guess it's just like, hey, Luke, how are you feeling today? And then my answer is always going to be like, oh, I'm fine. I wish that I could get to a place where it's like, today I've been like depressed, and then them be like, okay, do you want to like do something chill, or like, do you want to watch a movie? Um, Cause I don't know, it can be difficult to like hear someone say that, and so I understand people being like, oh, like, are you okay? Like, I'm here for you. Because I don't know, this shit is hard, dude. This is hard. This is really, really hard because like people have the best intentions. It's just tricky. It's just tricky. Um, and so I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I want from people. Okay, I don't know. I don't know how I want people to look at me. I don't know how I want people to perceive me. Um, I don't know. I feel like I keep saying so much. I just have so many thoughts, but also no thoughts at the same time. In conclusion, medication, it's definitely an intimidating process to kind of go through. This whole podcast has been like documenting my mental health journey, and as I kind of said earlier, it's been scary for sure. And I don't think I've given myself a breath to be like, hey, this is kind of intimidating what you're doing. I've kind of just like kept going and just like, I have an issue and then I react to it and then I try to fix it. And then I don't know, I haven't actually like sat back, like taken a breath and reflected on the fact that like, I'm proud of myself. I know when I was picking up the medication, I went with my sister because she was visiting for a couple days. She came with me and she was like, Luke, I'm really proud of you for doing this. Like, um, especially a lot of guys don't have the ability to do this. They can't do this, what you're doing. And I was like, oh, no, thanks. And I like couldn't take it. I didn't really understand what she was saying. But I think for a second, and I'm not trying to be like a dick who's like pompous about this, but just for a second, so that for my own well-being and for my own sake, I think I am just going to be proud of myself for doing this, and proud of myself for trying so hard, because it's been really hard and it's been a lot, and all at the same time, my life objectively is fantastic, and as a person, it's hard to reckon with the fact that like your life is objectively good, but for some reason something is off in your brain, and that's just the way it is. But I have recognized that, and I have taken so many steps for myself to improve my quality of life. And although that may seem like a selfish thing, something I've realized is that like my mental health affects the people around me, and I don't want to hurt the people around me. I think the people around me are fantastic, and they're so much better than me, and I don't want to hurt them anymore. And the best way that I can do that, the best way that I can protect the people around me and make sure that their quality of life is improved, is to make sure that mine is too. I don't cry. I'm not a crier. See that? I can like well up the tears and I can like build it a little bit, but I can't, let it out. Moral of the story, your mental health matters. Not just because we're selfish people, and not because I think you should be a selfish person, not because it's all about you, not because we have to be narcissistic, although we like doing that sometimes on this podcast. Your mental health matters because it affects everyone. And that is the conversation people should be having. Because holy shit, it does. Like, it does. And so, I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of me. I get to say that. because it's hard, but it's going to be worth it. And, hopefully you learned a lesson today. I know I did. Just from doing this podcast, I learned that my mental health matters because it affects the people around me. And I never heard that before. And maybe I have, and I just didn't process it fully. But I'm hearing it now, and I'm processing it now. And that's a really new thing for me to hear. And going forward, we'll see how it affects me. But I don't know. I just want to say thank you because this podcast has literally changed my life, even though there's not a ton of people listening to it, and even though it's not oh, suddenly I'm making millions from a podcast. I'm not making any money from this podcast, but this podcast and doing it regularly, sometimes not so regularly, it has truly changed my life and the way that I think about myself and the way that I go about the things that I do, and the way that I get through the week. Honestly, genuinely, you guys mean a lot to me, okay? Even if there's only a couple of you, you mean a lot to me, and I'm happy we have this place, and thank you. I love you, and I love you.